So I thought it'd be a good time to do a video update on the bike. I guess start from the beginning. It started as a new 2013 Harley Davidson Sportster 883. I went for the metallic blue. Before I even really got off the lot, I had to change the mirrors. I had to flip them because there really just was no way you could see through your own shoulders. I guess if you were a much shorter person, maybe it would work, but you know, it wasn't really working out. So yeah, switch those. You'll probably want to do that if you get this bike. You're gonna have to do the turn signal relocate. The other thing is, as long as you keep everything stock and you keep your angle right, you won't dent up your gas tank, which a lot of people have done, doing it incorrectly. I guess they think that they're all done, and then they're really not, and then they go and they put their bike up and dent their new gas tank, and that's probably pretty shitty. Let's see what else. I guess we did the rear air shocks because those were terrible stock. The spring suspension that this thing comes with is pretty much trash, especially if you're gonna ride 2-up, which I kinda, as you can see, like the option of doing. So the second thing was to get those shocks off, and did that. Put on the Street Glide air shocks. With one person, I run about 18 pounds if I'm going to do highway. I mean, it's weird. I mean, I know a lot of people are all about set it and forget it, but you can't really do that with these air shocks. You know, you do have to adjust them. If you're riding solo, if you're riding 2-up, if you're going to be riding just around the city, or if you're planning on hitting the highway, you know, a little modifications necessary. So yeah, I mean, I ride about pretty much 18 for solo, and then you know, I'd say maybe 38 for 2-up, 40 maybe if I'm doing like a really long distance, because you know, if you're cruising like 85 and you hit some nasty bumps, you know, it's nice to have that air, you know, nice and firm. Changed out the mufflers. I went with the Python Slip-ons, which, as far as I'm aware, are manufactured by Vance and Hines, and then I guess sold to drag drag specialties for distribution. But they're made by Vance and Hines, and they definitely sound great. I know everyone has their own sound that they're going for, but I'm all about the I don't know how to explain it. I guess the old muscle car sound, the old warplane sound, rather than the Top Fuel dragster sound, if that makes sense. You know, I like it deep and wet rather than, you know, dry and not. What else? I think the bike comes with enough black on it that you don't really need to add more black. You know, like, I mean, I know a lot of people change out their heat shields or just go full on, you know, straight dual exhaust, but I mean, a pure dual is really just the worst system you can put on. It may sound fantastic, but you're losing a lot of power there. On these sporties, a lot of people don't know until they go to change their stuff out that we've got these crossover pipe that runs between your two headers there, and I guess that's supposed to be giving you the benefit of a 2-in-1 exhaust at low speeds, but then a pure dual at high speeds. But realistically, if you're going to change the full exhaust, you really should be going a 2-in-1. You know, like the new Patriot Defender sounds pretty sweet. I'm all for Thunderheader, but I'm just saying there is more than one 2-in-1 system out there, and that's, as in terms of, I guess, the physics and data behind it all, is really the best way to do it. I did the smoked lenses. Excuse me. If you're gonna do the smoke kit, it comes with 4 yellows. You gotta get 2 red bulbs if you're gonna do all 4. Hopefully your Harley dude is nice, but the red bulbs that I ended up getting came from Drag Specialties, so it didn't even seem like Harley was the one who manufactures or distributes the red bulbs. Okay, just installed this down tube bag. It's pretty sweet. It holds the little tire, or sorry, not the tire, the suspension pump is in there. It's incredibly rigid. Thing's made out of like 1/2-inch PVC pretty much, and they just wrapped it in leather. But yeah, it's solid. It says 5 pounds max, you know, rating, but even the bottom and even up a little bit up this lip is you know, all PVC. So you could definitely put more than 5 pounds. I just don't know what all you're putting in here that's gonna weigh more than 5 pounds. I mean, maybe like a gold bar or something, you know. You're just transporting like one brick or something of gold, then, you know, you might exceed the weight rating, but I still think it'd probably hold it just fine. If you're gonna do these air shocks on the back, there's a couple routes you can go. A lot of people don't realize that the iron in foreign countries like England and Italy, where they actually have an Italian 883 edition, I mean an Italian iron, it'll have like an Italian flag here, and it's got like this sort of, you know, bullshit little pillion pad thing for the back, and I don't know. Anyways, in most other countries, it sits a little higher than stock, and I mean, most people who own this bike would probably already have noticed that this is, you know, sitting a little bit higher on the back end than it would stock. That's because when it comes stock, it comes with an 11-inch suspension, which is really only good for one thing, and that is dragging these pegs to all hell. You will literally, you could sign your name in a parking lot if you wanted to, with how low that bike was. These are the 12-inch off a Street Glide. You can also get the 13-inch off a Road King, but I think that ends up making the bike sit a little bit too high. These are the 12s, and with the rider sag, it's perfect. And the beauty of the air shocks is that it's not like the rider sag is any more if you put 2 up. You just add pressure and compensate, and everything ends up working correctly. So I think that is one of the benefits of these airs over the springs. Even if you got really nice progressive spring shocks in the back, you know, or Works Performance or any of that, if they're not gas, you know, every time you crank those springs up one level, you're taking away some of your travel. I mean, to an extent, and I don't see the point of that. At least your spring travel. And I don't, you know, for $120 plus shipping off eBay versus 400 and something new, you know, for some springs that are just gonna really not give you as good a ride. I don't understand, you know. What else have I done to this bike? The grips, that was necessary, because literally, I mean, I had this bike for like 5 freeway exits before I realized there was no way that those stock grips were going to work with these hands. I mean, I got big mitts, you know, and you know, they come with kind of thin grips, and so these were the biggest ones I could find. And so I can really kind of like, you know, I can really get a nice bear paw action going on there, which is really comfortable for long rides. You can just lean into your bars and let the weight off your hands and the pressure off. Yeah. I did the Detachable Sissy Bar. I think it's a good looking bar. It's also one of the few that actually works stock. You don't have to relocate your rear turn signals. A lot of people end up getting Kuryakin or something else, and then they end up realizing it doesn't work with their stock turn signal. And I'm not saying that I'm all about OEM, but you know, I don't really like to modify the crap out of the bike if you don't need to. I think it's a great looking sissy bar. It's solid. The thing is solid. You could lift the bike up with that for sure. I wouldn't, but you could, I think, you know. Yeah, the Mustang seat, that's right. This right here has been a great purchase. I saw a video on YouTube by a guy named Okie John who ended up doing a review on this seat. I had watched his review while the seat was in transit, so it didn't really help sell me on the seat, but it definitely reassured me in knowing that I purchased the right one. It's wide. It's cushy, you know. I mean, that's just, it's nice. It's very nice for the passenger. I mean, she gets a nice lift. When I got it, the first 20 miles though, these buttons came off, which apparently had happened with these seats in the past with Mustangs, so they were complimentary enough to just send me the button repair kit, obviously free of charge, and just some extra buttons and some super glue, and now they're all good. It's a great seat. It also helps. It sets your tailbone about 2 inches back from where the stock seat does. Maybe not a full 2 inches, but it feels like a good couple inches, because you can really, you know, your arms can stretch out a little more, your legs can stretch out a little more. You know, your mid controls are a little bit more comfortable for the taller people like myself. This little lip here is, I mean, this is great for your little back support, and it also keeps your passenger from riding up on you or shifting around too much. It's been a nice project. I dig it. There's not really much else I would like to do to it. I did notice that by changing these mufflers out, the entire bike sort of smoothed out. There was a lot less vibration in the handlebars, especially on the freeways at high speeds. Going about 65 or, I mean, once you get up into that rev range, the way that it's built stock will essentially shatter your hands, I feel. I'm sure that there are people who are just comfortable with it and it's fine, and I'm just weak and whatever, but honestly, it's not comfortable to ride that way. My hands were going numb, and that's just not, you know, there's no need for that. yeah, so exhaust helped definitely with that. It also smoothed the gear shifts out. Everything on the bike really just ended up becoming a little smoother. I got these progressive springs put in the front. Progressive company. Obviously the stock springs were already progressive rate, but you know, the stock springs in here really are only like, they're not very tall. You know, the stock springs are like maybe a foot and a half long, and then with like a 5-inch spacer. And these progressives are more like 2 feet long with like a 3-inch spacer. So it's I mean, that's probably exaggerated, but that's how I kind of remembered seeing them. I don't think they were really fully 2 feet. They might have been. But definitely I could see the benefit of it. So I got these progressive springs. I put it in, and I don't know if something's messed up or what, but you know, I ended up on the phone with the progressive tech and the Harley tech here with me, and we couldn't really figure out what was going on. They might have been the mispackaged lowering kit springs without the secondary lowering kit spring, and as a result, I don't know how to describe it. Either way, the bike has a pretty unnerving amount of rider sag up front, and especially at high speeds, it doesn't absorb really dick all on the freeways, you know. And out here in California, and I'm sure in many places, there's just, you know, bridges and separations in the road where it'll jar your arms, and I'm not saying that the stock suspension didn't do that also, but you know, I also feel that just off the bat I'm riding a little bit low, and that's its own thing, and I'll probably update on how that goes. But oh yeah, and the upgraded horn, that's what it looks like for anyone who wants to know. It's the $30 Harley Davidson horn. It's a little bit louder. It sounds Italian, but it has definitely worked. I'm not gonna lie, I have used that thing on the freeway, and you know, at least people can hear it. You'd think people can hear your pipes. The whole loud pipe save lives thing is really not as bogus as people who don't have loud pipes would think, or people who don't ride motorcycles. It actually, if you have the right kind of pipes and you're getting enough sort of, I don't know what the word for it is, but the sound really has to emanate and reverberate and resonate through things. It's not just the loudness of the pipe. It, I think, is more the frequency and most likely some physical properties of the sound that do it more on some exhausts than others. But these make a nice, clear bass note. You know, if you're cruising through traffic, you really part the seas. I mean, people hear you coming. You know, everyone thinks that just because the exhaust is shooting out the back that you can't hear it, but people in front definitely hear it. I think that has to do with the resonance or whatever that property is that I can't think the word of. So yeah, that's my bike. Like I said, it's a Harley Iron 883, which is really just, you know, a blacked out Sportster. You know, they chop it a little bit, but for the most part, you know, this is a Sportster. There's no more nothing really more about it. So yeah, let me fire it up and you can hear what those well, I guess first you can hear what this horn sounds like. Alright, again, this bike's only got 1,800 miles on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could have broken in some things and maybe grown to love them, but really you can't, because if you're gonna break in things that are already straight broken, you're just, that's stupid. So here's the horn, which is just ridiculous. I'll do it one more time. And then yeah, let's get it in neutral and start it up. Now, one of the things I realized when I was putting these on is that you got to be super careful with these exhaust gaskets on this crossover pipe. Those things are super fragile. So if you're gonna change anything, make sure you pick up a pair of those before you do any work, because you're gonna realize you want them on there and you're gonna be pissed because the instructions said that you could reuse your stock ones, but you can't, because I promise you they are shredded. And if you don't line everything up perfectly, then it'll also shred it and you'll end up doing it again. Getting your stock mufflers off is going to be one of the harder parts of the whole process. It's a lot easier to just put the new ones on and even fiddle with them than it is to get the old ones off. So yeah, doing the bag was easy. It was like, I don't know, 15 minutes. You just got to get that bracket on. I mean, you can, it says to bore out the holes and all that stuff, but as long as you don't do it too crazy, you actually can just eliminate using Loctite, which I always prefer. I don't like using Loctite. I think it's, you know, I mean, on some applications it's necessary, but you know, if you're putting a bolt through PVC, you really, you know, with like a crush washer, I mean, do you really need Loctite? Or you, whatever, it's not that important. So yeah, that's how it is. If you're gonna get one of these, as I said, before you take it off the lot, do yourself a favor, flip your mirrors and relocate your headlights, and at least then you'll be able to see what's behind you on the way home. Alright, well, this is my bike. Thanks for watching.